Welcome to episode 16 of season 5. And my co-host, Mr. Paul LePage. How's it going?
On the decks, going okay, just about.
And to celebrate the 4-1 win over Fulham, great win, we've brought two of our favorite guests. It is Wolfman Jeff from Atlanta.
How you doing,
Well,
Chattanooga?
he's in Tennessee, but yes, from Atlanta Wolves. And a whole lot of Wolves' resident curmudgeon, who's today is smiling, Mr. Andrew Smith.
Hi, y'all. How is everyone?
Excellent. Well, how can we not be excellent after the butt whooping we laid on Fulham? Completely surprising too, Paul. And I'll be honest, I definitely didn't see it after seeing that opening lineup come out where it was Toady was the only healthy center back. In fact, I wish I had waited to put my bet on Wolves. I had Wolves win or draw at plus 105 the night before. As soon as the lineup came out, Paul, it jumped up to 135. That's a huge... I mean, nobody expected this after the lineup came out.
Yeah. No, that's right. I think many were looking at that and thinking it was that Bruno Lage moment against West Ham. Now, not through having to. The actual issue was that O'Neill was forced into it. This one with Lemina dropping back and becoming that centre back in a 4 as well. So it wasn't just the personnel that were changing. It was actual shape of the whole team. So when you factor that into it, maybe question marks again over Semedo and out Nuri having to play as traditional wing backs against what could be a tricky attacking lineup away from home that we were going to be coming up against. It really did think that the writing was on the wall and it could have been Cheerio O'Neill if it had a bad outcome, but it was completely the opposite. Now, I think we were speaking just before we started, and I think Andrew was saying that it didn't look like it was going all that well to begin with. And certainly when you got that inevitable Alex Iwobi goal into the mix, you could set your watch to one of those. I didn't think that, I did think it was going to be positive at all. And really you had that Raul miss just before as well. And you're thinking, Matt, now if maybe Raul had scored that and then Iwobi quickly got a second afterwards, it would have been totally different. But fair dues to them, they really dug in, and it was something special that got us back into the game.
Now, Andrew, you mentioned before the match, or not before the match, before our show here, you think that Raul miss wasn't necessarily accidental?
Well, to me, it just at the last second, he lifted his head and leaned back. Maybe he was just a little bit off balance, perhaps. Wasn't quite sure, but it looked to me by the expression in his face that he really didn't want to score against Wolves. Though it was a sitter, it was just an interesting, maybe it's just me thinking, Raul was taking care of us. But it would have been a different story, as Paul mentioned. If that would have gone through in the back, it would have been a completely different game. But thank goodness somebody was watching out for us at that last second when that ball hit that bar. Crazy.
Wolfman Jeff, on a scale of 1 to 10, how insane is Andrew's theory there?
I think it's full 8. It's not full 10. It's mostly because I know extremely crazy people. That's why I'm not making it full 10. So it's at least an 8. And I say that partly because it is not in Raul's nature not to be competitive and not to want to get that goal in. I don't think he would have rubbed it in our face. He wouldn't have acted like a jerk like Morgan Gibbs White or something like that. Because he's, there is still love for us there, but Raul is Raul, and Raul's going to put everything onto the pitch. And so, I don't buy that. Honestly, what my conspiracy is that instead of investing in a center back, I think that Jeff Shee was telling them, we'll just depend on those posts to hold us out. So,
Andrew, I know you're not always the most positive guy. So, what was your thoughts when they fell down 1-0?
Oh, well, there was, I was talking to some friends in the UK, and I thought, I'm going to stay positive. I'll tell you why. Because the Wolves ladies wearing purple are totally unbeaten. And I thought, this has to be a turning point somewhere. We have tried every combination of shirts to try and help Wolves win. Put my lucky socks on. It's not working. But somehow that purple strip, I don't know, kind of dazzled. Maybe we just dazzled them too much. I'm not sure. But it was definitely, let's stay positive, and hopefully we can get that equalizer. And it happened so quick, so fast, and what a beautiful pass. Oh, I still keep playing it in my mind. What gorgeous pass. Amazing.
Now, Wolfman, do you think that if they hadn't gotten that win right before the international break, if they gave up and conceded that first goal against Fulham, heads would just be down?
it's hard to say, because as much as it's been so frustrating not getting results, I really haven't seen us just drop our heads and stop being competitive like we saw with Bruno Lage and at the end of the Nuno era. So I never saw that. Having said that, before our win, before the international break, we had 2 draws. And so we were starting to get some momentum, which is really needed. And of course, we're coming into a stretch now, which should be more winnable games. But I have to say, Josh, I was just like you when I realized that Santi was injured and that Craig Dawson was injured. And we are so thin at the center back. And I'm a very positive person, kind of cheery, almost to an annoying
You're
level.
the anti-Andrew.
Yeah, but I am really frustrated. I'm very angry at Wolves for the position they've left us in center back. And we sold a decent center back in Kilman, and we did not replace him. And that is just we're lucky to be where we're at. And I know in January that's got to be addressed. I'm not sure it would have worked with any other team, but it did work because, I knew that they were moving Mario as a center back, but what, about 2 years ago, I think Lage did that. We tried to get Neves to play center back when we were short, and that's Neves. And Neves can do anything except for maybe play center back. And so I was more than concerned, but I was. I guess the positivity was that we are on an upward trajectory, and it may have been different if that Raul goal had gone in and we were down 2-0. That may have been much tougher. But once Cunha got his first goal, and of course any goal Cunha got was amazing for this past match. He was just stunning, and that really rallied the troop. I know we've got some players set up to rally, but really, we got someone really special in Cunha, and I hope we can keep him.
So, Paul, let's talk about this change with Lemina at center back, which was really, at that point, we didn't have many options. Is this something that can happen going forward? Because, Cody started as a center mid. Roman Saiz started as a center mid. They both got converted to center back and did great. And by Lemina starting back there, that gets Andre on the field.
I think they talked on the broadcast that Lemina's had some experience playing centre back. Now, it's not a huge body of work, but I think it just shows that he's certainly got that skill set there. I think both the Cody and Saiz comparisons, it's a little like going into the crucible. If it's like the midway through a season, to drop someone back into centre back and expect him to be a revelation like he was on Saturday, to think that's a solution right out the box it could certainly be a stretch at this point. But as far as Saturday goes, it does just show what can be achieved. And I think for me, how that game was really won was in the middle of the park, and that was Andre and Joe Gomez both being phenomenal. At least probably 8 out of 10 for Andre, and probably Joe Gomez 9 out of 10 with his performance and goal. So if that has opened up the opportunity for them to start, but not only that, if they can start as a 2 and allow him to play a back 4, this was away from home, don't forget, that opens up a ton of flexibility as well. So did he fall on it accidentally, or was this some last resort plan? Who knows? But what a master stroke it was if we're looking at it in that lens.
Perhaps give us some dark magic, Paul.
We need a clean sheet for that to really, you know.
Yeah, maybe they gave me the wrong candle, and this was just, I don't know what kind of protection that would be. We do need the clean sheet. Andrew, I think it is very clear that Gary O'Neill wants to play a back 4. That's really, he's made it clear that's his preference. Do you think that he can accomplish that with Lemina if he stays at center back? And as Todd says on the comments, that also opens up a spot for Tommy fucking Doyle.
Yeah, it's a great question. I kind of blindsided me a little bit to see what the lineup was going on. I mean, Lemina is obviously a very strong player, so slotting into that back there, he did a fantastic job. He's very strong and powerful, and he's very quick. So does this put Dawson now in a better spot where we can rotate a little bit and keep players a little bit more fresh? So I noticed towards the end of Fulham, we didn't look so knackered, as you want to put it. We looked, we were still looked fairly fresh. I know it was because it was raining, it was cooler. I'm not sure, but maybe there's a fitness, something behind the scenes that's happening with the fitness, perhaps a change in some of the diet. I'm not sure, but they definitely looked very, very fresh, very comfortable. Maybe it was because they had a good lead. They were confident, but I'm not sure. But I do like that if Lemina is going to be in that, maybe that rotating a little bit, maybe more of a slight back 4 sweeping, slotting in, and it gives Dawson a chance to heal. And who knows? So we're going to need that here to the run up for Christmas. We've got some tight games, tough games, and it's a very congested schedule.
I think what we can't look past from Saturday was how well Totti played, and the advantage of Totti's got that he's left-footed, and he can take that berth up. So I think that bodes well for him, really, that he could really lock down that left-sided berth, and if he turns into that dominant centre back and allow Lemina to be that covering one that can rely on his pace a little bit more, then it does open up some opportunities. I would probably say, though, regardless of the season that Fulham have had to date, maybe it was us doing a number of them further up the pitch, but they did look a little lethargic in the final third. Now, there was some hairy moments, there was some balls put across, but I could well see us coming up against a more potent forward line and being in trouble if it's just Lemina and Totti Gomez. So I think that's a consideration, not to fully jump on the bandwagon. Needs some experience of them two playing together to see if there could be a long-term partnership against some top-class, top strikers that they'll be coming up against. But you're right in terms of the flexibility allows, busy festive period, the bookings that have done a good job with in these past 2 games, they're still pretty high, that they need to be factored in as well. So it could be a blessing.
Now, Wolfman, in the second half especially, we started seeing some of those guys that were stars on the U.S. tour Bellegarde and Rodrigo Gomez really starting to make an impact. How do you feel, especially Rodrigo Gomez did? Because this was the first time he started, I think, since week 1.
Yeah, we're starting to see some of our players that we expected to see a lot more coming in now. Rodrigo Gomez, and then now finally Andre. We've been waiting a long time for Andre, but you got to remember our first year back in the Prem, there were some of our players it took forever for them to get up to speed, to Dunker and Adama Traore. And so that's not atypical, but it is good to see them come in. I was hoping to see Lima get back on there a little bit. So that was good. I think also Guedes has been a very, as much as he was a disappointment to us because he never lacked the quality. He just couldn't do it for us. And so now it is good to see him being able to do it for us. But yeah, I think Rodrigo Gomez was one that at the Navy match that really kind of stood out for me of going, there's something there. And so, yeah, there's that. I think we've been working on that momentum, and so things are coming together. But still, at the same time, we're still a small side, so we are the momentum's on our side, and we could really go for a run, or we could get more injuries and head towards catastrophe at any second. So it's the weird thing you talk about the energy is I felt like the substitutions that were made were only just because we had it in the bag and we got to rotate some of these other players in. I don't felt that any of the subs had to happen. And so that was really good. That's been one of the things I've been frustrated for this year for Gary O'Neill compared to last year is his subs have been sometimes very puzzling and that's been very frustrating. It's hard to gauge this one because he didn't really have to make any subs. And so when you talk about having Lemina as a possibility to slot down, I like that idea. Like try to start with a back four and then have a Lemina move in if needed. And you've already got him on the pitch. Years ago, when you had Dendaka and you used to have Romain Saiz, you had these players who could easily slot from defensive mid to center back at a moment's notice. And kind of missing them there. So it's really, I think that's an area we have to address. I can't say enough in January. We've got to get not one, but two solid center backs. We have that. I think we've got all the pieces in place.
So, Paul, let's talk about these other goals. Cunha, again, not only did he have the great goal in the first half, he assisted on João Gomez's goal, the second goal, and then another beaut for his third goal. Can you think what's the last Wolves player that you can remember that has been on this kind of a run that Cunha is right now?
I don't think there has been. And I say that in just his overall contributions, but the actual goals that he's scoring, like these past two victories, all his goals could be genuine contenders for goals of the month, that maybe goals of the season even. He's got absolutely everything in his locker. He's got shots from distance. He's got amazing close control and the ability to finish in the box. He's creative. He takes corners. You watch him one of these next two games pop up and get a 25-yarder free kick, and it will be like Neves' return. It will be one of those. So the man can't do anything wrong. I think maybe I've got the old gold tinted specs on, but if he's not the most informed player in the whole league at the moment, there's only one or maybe two that are doing better than Cunha right now.
I think the only one I think that comes to mind would be close was Jota before we sold him to Liverpool. And I still would give the nod to Cunha right now as far as for being that consistent spark. So that was, but I hope that, by saying that, I hope that doesn't mean we're gonna. Hopefully, we're gonna be able to keep Cunha. But I wouldn't be surprised if people are going to be asking.
Yeah, and I'd like to if you don't mind, I'd like to elaborate on what Jeff just said about keeping Cunha. That's an important point there, because with teams like Manchester City that we've never seen before drop 5 games in a row, including cups, they just go and buy who they want. I get concerned that hopefully our management, we know who we're talking about, and someone comes in like a Man City or someone else and drops 100 million in January and we let him go. That's the big concern I have at the moment.
Yeah, Paul, what would be the price tag for Cunha for you to even... I mean, I would think January he's safe just because of the fact that we would probably get relegated without him. But what do you think the price tag is going to be for Wolves to think about getting rid of him?
Like right now, in this current vein of form, he's easily doubled his acquisition. So that probably puts us in the triple digit millions, like 100 million easily. If he keeps up this goal scoring again from a team that's we're scoring goals, but we're still in the bottom, but he's showing he can do it. I think it'd be a massive amount in January. Like it'd have to be like a ridiculous amount that they put on him, and I can't see it based on that. And I just think, I don't know, like personality wise, I think a little like Raul coming in. That again, he's had that experience overseas. It's not gone well for him. He's come in. It's took him a little time, but now he's so much reaping the rewards. He's the star man. This will bring him back into the international fold, no doubts about it. Next Brazil squad, he should be in there. He's playing regularly and he's scoring. And just personality wise, you think that that's what he's going to thrive on, rather than take the risk of going to a bigger team, maybe jeopardizing your minutes somewhat. The only thing there is when it comes to Champions League opportunities and the more chance you have got to start, not only in the league, but those games midweek as well. So that would be the only thing. But I think he's on a good thing and he's going to ride the wave as much as possible.
Yeah, I think as well. I think the Raul comparison is good, that some guys don't necessarily want to make a move to London or to a big team. Like they really enjoy it. And as long as we can fairly compensate Cunha for the type of player he is, I don't think he's going to be one that's banging on the door wanting to leave even this summer. I think he's going to be, as long as we're up in the Premier League, I think he's having a good time. I think he enjoys Wolverhampton. So he had the 2 great goals, and then Jeff Guedes came through at the end as well with a nice goal, which Paul actually called in our text thing when it was 3-1. He was like, this can make like 4 or 5 coming up here with how it was being played.
Well, I remember. Yeah, I think didn't Guedes score when we were playing Crystal Palace at Navy?
Was that who scored? No, who scored that goal?
Maybe it was one of the other matches. I think he scored in the States.
Yeah, maybe it was good.
And we were still like sure going like, is it good to have him back? Shouldn't he be sold or on loan? And he's really it's really nice to see that he's doing well, and he seems to be much happier now because before he was certainly not happy to be here, and that makes a huge difference. Of course, it doesn't hurt to have Ruben Neves around us as he was a couple of weeks ago at Wolves to cheer us on and talk about why. I think what Paul was talking about, some people don't want to go. I think he's an example of how you keep a player of that quality is by not just the club, but the club's massive, but to have the community really show that love and support. And so yeah, we're gonna. It was great to hear him sing the Tequila song with Cunha, because the 3 of us were out in the streets in Nashville last year doing the same thing. So I felt a little more connected.
That's right. It was a lot of fun. And putting a bow on this game, how cool was it to hear Wolves fans singing to Raul as he walked off the pitch, Paul?
Touched everything then. Like, selfishly, to have him start against us and not score was a huge benefit. So for him to go off and have that ovation, because just, I think he'll really know, and not that he didn't, but just how much he's adored. No, he got that farewell from when he left, but that takes a lot, and it's a special player that makes that away support really show it. You know that you've got to be. That was reserved for one or two, maybe three players to get something like that. But I think really it just goes not only that, but it goes to show how supportive the away fans were on Saturday as well. In general, that they were by far the loudest when it was coming across over the TV and just taking into the lead. And from that point forward, it was just all Wolf songs, all Cunha songs, then Raul going off, and even still Traore coming on and not doing the damage that everyone thought he was going to do as well. And he was kept relatively quiet. So you probably couldn't have written a better script as far as Saturday went.
Yeah, I think this was definitely a match where this felt like this is why you're a Wolves fan. Like, fell down 1-0, team was just full of energy, came back, amazingly scored 4 goals. That's not Wolves like, but and just hearing in a stadium like Fulham's, the away fans taking over and then singing to one of their beloved players who has made it clear he didn't want to get sold off of Wolves. I think this is a type of game that makes being a Wolves fan special. Don't you think, Jeff?
Yeah, one thing that came to mind when they were singing the Si Senor was the very disappointing and maybe even disrespectful send off that didn't happen for Raul. And I think that was really, I kind of came back, and I'm wondering if that was in the back of some of the Wolves supporters' heads. One, the admiration, because he's always going to be a beloved. He's a legend in Wolverhampton, but at the same time, I don't think he got to play his final game, and so he didn't get that time out on the pitch for the last match. And so I'm kind of wondering if that's partial of like this is more of a proper send off to him.
What Saturday reminded me of, and I know it's a fraction, it's a fraction of what we need to do, even as far as this season goes. But for that 90 minutes and basking of the glow of being out of the bottom three all weekend, riding on that high, it was like the Wolves of old. Mm-hmm. Counter-attacking, packed a punch. If you were a new fan turning into that game on Saturday, seeing the performance that Cunha put in, you'd have been astonished, and that would have been your team, like plucky underdog away from home, struggling with numbers, and they go and do that. That's what fandom. That's what turns like the armchair fans into raving fans. So that gave me some positives. Now, how much was that just down to the players on the pitch, or was it just circumstances that dictated what happens? Who knows? But just, it was nice to have that enjoyment for a game this season of having something that you can really attach yourself to.
Completely agree. Well, guys, Thanksgiving is this week. So obviously Jeff and I are Americans, so we Thanksgiving's a staple for us. I want to hear from Paul and Andrew real quick. Like, Andrew, what do the British think of Thanksgiving?
Well, we were the persecuted versions, right? So we escaped from everywhere to come to the States. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to be part of the history. First moving to America and realizing what it meant to America to have people stuff themselves till they just cannot eat anymore, and their bellies are about to explode, and their belts are unhinged two notches. But yeah, for me, it's a fantastic day, and I'm glad to be here and experience it. To be frank,
Paul, when you were in England, did the concept of Thanksgiving just seem weird to you?
Yeah, totally passed me by. I think my only slight any recollection of it was like wrestling induced if there was like a pay-per-view or some Thanksgiving theme. So had nothing what to do for like whatever. And even more alien was Black Friday. It's like, what the heck is that? And now that's gone global as well. Like even England jump on the bandwagon of Black Friday now. They haven't even got a Thanksgiving after it. So yeah, all that was pretty crazy. But I just made the most of that opportunity to overindulge and have 2 Christmas dinners within the space of the month and see how many tamales I can have in one day and also how many naps I can fit in.
Yeah.
That's right. Because for those that don't know, Paul's wife is Hispanic. And so I can imagine the tamales are spot on over there. That'd be great. Jeff, it feels like the Brits look at Thanksgiving like we look at Boxing Day. Like, what the hell is that day?
Well, there's I gotta say Thanksgiving is about as American as it could get, especially it's about gluttony. But it really is, ultimately, it is about giving thanks for the things you had. And I think Paul or Andrew talked about the fact that we're a country of misfits who got kicked out of better regarded countries. And we all kind of met up here, and it's a place to start over. And so that's good. I lived in Canada for about 10 years. And so their version of Thanksgiving is very similar, but it's also not quite the same. Of course, it's a month earlier. So it is, yeah, it's kind of different to seeing that. Of course, there they had Boxing Day, and I think Boxing Day is genius. And to me, Boxing Day is what I think Black Friday should be, which is a day of recovery, where Black Friday has just gotten to be, it's a different type of decadence rather than gluttony by food. It brings out it can bring out your worst, and all of a sudden, for one day, everyone's a Florida man.
To answer, Todd has a question in the chat. He said, "Does Josh have a cat holding a trident on his shirt?" Not only is the cat holding a trident, he's riding a shark. So yeah,
Sweet.
Shirt of the year right there. Well, guys, they don't have Thanksgiving in England, but if they did, we're going to talk about who would bring what to the Thanksgiving dinner at Gary O'Neill's house. So, Paul, I'm going to start off with you. What does Dawson bring to Thanksgiving dinner?
I think it's pretty stable, pretty reliable, and he'll put together a mean green bean casserole.
Ooh, green bean casserole. I kind of thought he'd be a mashed potatoes guy. I don't know. We know how my thoughts on Dawson. Okay, Wolfman, what does Matthias Cunha bring to Thanksgiving dinner?
He brings the main dish.
Really?
Yeah, because right now he's delivering the goods, and and we are more than happy to get stuffed.
Now, for the main dish, is that going to be a turkey or a ham?
No, for him it's a turkey. I think it's a turkey. We have enough other hams out through there, but he's he's bringing that, and afterwards you just want to take a nap because it's too much. So.
Okay, Andrew, what does Mario Lemina bring?
Oh, it's going to be the best mashed potatoes ever, just full of butter and some other spices. That's what I think.
I can see that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Paul, this is an interesting one. What does Matt Doherty bring?
He should be bringing the potatoes. He's Irish.
No,
So
that's like their weight of gold, right?
We'll extend that then and say he can do some fancy sweet potato side dish with the marshmallows and things like that.
Sweet potato casserole is one of my favorites, being an Alabama man. You know, my wife makes a great sweet potato casserole with some cinnamon. She puts cornflakes on the top, mashed potatoes. Oh, amazing. Okay, Wolfman, what does Pablo Sarabia bring?
Sarabia. I don't know. It's I think he's kind of more of a light garnish kind of guy. Not overwhelming, but just something on the side. So I think he's going to be bringing one of those side dishes that you only find at church functions. And so some kind of weird kind of vegetable bean casserole kind of thing that you don't see in real life.
Okay, 8 Nuri. Andrew, what does he bring?
Pumpkin pie.
I think not only is it pumpkin pie, it's pumpkin pie that he has picked up from the grocery store on the way to the dinner.
Exactly.
Like he's one of those that's like, uh-oh. And in fact, he brings it in and it still has the price tag on it.
Right from Trader Joe's, right?
Yeah. No, he can't. He doesn't even want to pay up for Trader Joe's. Like he just stops at like the cheapest, quickest place he can get one. Paul, what does Saw bring?
We're back on the main courses, and Saw is going big with a fried turkey.
Ooh, the fried turkey. That's
he might blow it up. He might drop it in, and it might go boom. But it's either going to go one way. It's either going to be disaster, or it's going to be succulent and delicious, and your taste buds are tingling. So, fried turkey.
Middle ground. No middle ground.
So, Wolfman, this is a tricky one because there is only one correct answer for this.
Of course.
What does Huang He Chan bring?
Kimchi.
Kimchi. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what he brings. And everybody's like, what the hell? But at Korean households, I know kimchi is definitely a staple.
It is certainly a staple.
And then last one, Andrew, Sam Johnston. What does he bring?
As an appetizer, maybe deviled eggs. Maybe. I'm not sure.
I like deviled eggs. Yeah.
Maybe.
I think Sam Johnson just shows up drunk with like brings some mayonnaise or something because he's just so pissed off and doesn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Trying to figure out what's going on there. Does anybody have any insider? What has he fallen out with the boss, the manager?
I saw one tweet on the weekend from an he didn't say in the know, but I know it as fact, and it said that he's refusing to be involved, whatever that means. So
great,
yeah,
great bit of money we spent. Whatever.
You know, it does seem like it has improved Saw.
Yeah.
If nothing else, if it rattled Saw to get back in form, it worked.
So, and finally, Paul, is Jeff Shee even invited?
That's a really good one. I'm still spiteful, so I'll say no.
Yeah, I think not as well.
He'd probably try and charge tickets for it. So
yeah, his invite accidentally got the wrong date,
lost in the mail, and then somebody sent him a text that said, "Don't be sad, mate." All right, so that's what the guys would have at Thanksgiving. Now let's talk after Thanksgiving. We have a match on Saturday. It's at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central, and it is against Bournemouth, Gary O'Neill's old team. They're coming off a 2-1 home defeat over the weekend, and they've had some big money signings there with Solanke going. Paul,
yeah, they've. Well, when you look at their starting 11, it's not majorly shifted from that last season, but that replacement's come in with Evan Nilsson into that number 9, big money signing, Brazilian. I think we've been linked with in the past, but I think just as it shows sometimes with that profile of player, you can get those guys coming in and hitting the ground running relatively early. So I think they've done pretty well with that pickup and into that role. Semenyo has probably been their star boy so far this season as well, getting a lot of plaudits, a lot of admirers. I think similar formation we could be coming up against for like a 4-2-3-1. Whether that will differ a great ton away from home, I'm not sure. But I think now with the past, certainly for us, the past 2 weeks, like we can't get over the fact of how important the confidence has been. So I think if there was a good time to play a team at home, it would probably be a team like Bournemouth. That's not going to be one that you have to, really go defensive for. It could be a little end to end at times, especially if we're similar matched formation wise. So I think it could be a good fixture to try and keep the momentum going.
Andrew, where does Mario Lemina start on Saturday?
Why break it when what we've laid out has worked? I mean, obviously now we're on film, so there's some potential weaknesses maybe going on. I think the interesting game against Bournemouth is we have to clear the ball better. Ran has to stop giving the ball away. Anyone has to stop giving the ball away, allowing the other teams to score. That has to be instilled into the players' heads. We cannot just sit back and try and get fancy and then lose it. From a score prediction, I think I agree with Paul. I think this is going to be a very fast, exciting game. A lot of pulling, pushing both sides. I wouldn't be surprised if you see this one going potentially 3-2 to Wolves. I think it'll be a high-scoring game for some reason.
I didn't ask for your prediction yet, Andrew.
Oh, but I just wanted to throw it in there. Yeah, you asked me who's going to bring deviled eggs, so why not, right?
All right, I'll ask for your prediction then. What's your prediction? 3-2 Wolves? Is that what you're going with?
3-2.
3-2 Wolves. By the way, nobody got points last week because we are all Debbie Downers, and then Wolves won 4-0. We're 4-1. That's crazy. Wolfman, what you got?
Well, I think the thing we've got going in our advantage is that lately it looks like Bournemouth can only beat the top sides. And so if you look at their last 2 wins, were against Man City and Arsenal. And so it kind of reminds us in the early Nuno days where we could beat the big boys, but then we would lose to those at the bottom. So I'm hoping that works in our favor. But Bournemouth I think they're vulnerable. And I think Paul hit it where I think the most important thing we've got to keep, and that's confidence. If we've got that confidence up, I think we're going to do better. And hopefully we've got some of our players back who were injured this weekend, so we've got more to play with. So, yeah, I'm feeling more confident, but I'm not really seeing the high scoring. I think it will be tight, and it might be a bit chippy. And so I'm going to go with 1-2 Wolves win.
Danny is predicting a 1-1 draw in this one, while Alex is predicting a 2-1 Wolves win. Paul, what do you got?
I've got a 2-2 draw for this one.
2-2 draw. Okay, interesting. I'm going to be a little more positive here. In fact, I'm going to be so positive. The fiery wall of protection will finally get a clean sheet. 2-0 Wolves. And then there's another match next week on Wednesday. It is going to be at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central. So make sure and plan that work meeting or work lunch, whatever you need. Mm-hmm. And Everton's kind of a weird team. They're down there with us, but who knows? They always seem to get points deducted because they don't pay attention to the rules. Paul, what are you thinking about this one?
This one's a tricky one for me, just based on the fact that we've got a really good record of going to Goodson in past years. I think kind of shape wise as well. If we're sticking with that 4-2-3-1, then they'll be pretty much the same as well. So I could see on this one two relatively evenly matched teams. I think out the two fixtures, this could actually be a little bit of a stinker, and we could both cancel each other out, and it could be a pretty crap game for the neutral. So based on all of that, I'm going to light up your fiery candle of clean sheet prediction and go Everton 0, Wolves 1.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. Andrew, what are you thinking of that one?
I think Paul's got a good point, but there's something about Everton. They seem to play us well. We've had some good success against them, but from a score prediction, I'm actually going to go 1-1 for this one. I think this they'll be up for this game. We will be too, but yeah, I don't know. Looking at the history, I have a feeling they might play us off the park at times. If we can keep them to that one goal, I'd be happy. But I'll go 1-1. 1-1.
That's the Andrew Smith I've grown to love right there.
That's the one that God says, where have I gone? Where have I gone missing?
Jeff, what you got?
I'm being more positive here, and I think this is the match where we're going to get our clean sheet. I'm 0-2, and part of it is the fact that I think that Everton right now, it's a pretty good time to play them. They're really struggling to get goals. They've not had a goal in the past 3 matches. And I'm also banking on that the Black Cat will return and disrupt things and totally throw Everton off. And we won't be freaked out by it. We'll embrace the chaos, and we'll knock in 2 goals.
Danny has 3-0 Wolves win, and Alex has a 1-1 draw. Paul, is this our last trip to Goodson Park?
It will be, yeah. They move to the new stadium next season,
okay. So that'll be interesting. Do you have any, just real quick, any great memories? What's your favorite? Nothing?
Nothing. Went there in my last trip was in the Premier League with Mick, and I think it was a 3-0 loss, and we're awful. So yeah, good riddance to Goodison.
I'm kind of with you, Paul. I think this is going to be a little slog of a match. Andrew, I think you got it right this time. I think 1-1 draw sounds about right, but I think this is going to be one of those where a draw feels like a draw. But it will end up positive because Wolves will fall down 1-0 and then end up scoring.
Exactly.
No Stupid Questions is presented by Esfuerzo Wines. Located just north of Santa Barbara, California, Esfuerzo Wines showcases passion and 3 generations of winemaking in every bottle. So whether you're celebrating a Wolves victory or winding down after a day at work, let Esfuerzo Wines transport you to the heart of California's wine country with every sip. For a limited time, head to esfuerzowines.com and use the promo code WOLVES for a 15% discount on your wine purchases. This message is intended for those of legal drinking age. Do not drink and drive. Excessive alcohol consumption may be harmful to your health. If you or someone you know is struggling with alcohol abuse, please seek help. Esfuerzo Wines reminds you to enjoy their products responsibly and in moderation.
It's No Stupid Questions, the chance for you, the listener, to get in touch and ask us anything about this wonderful football club of Wolverhampton Wanderers. You can do this on X at WLWpod, on our Facebook page, or send us an email to hello@wholelotofwolves.com. And as always, this segment is supported by Esfuerzo Wines. So head to esfuerzowines.com, add Wolves at checkout, and you'll get that exclusive 15% saving. So first, we have got OJ Nayley on X, who asks, quite a fitting with these 2 games and moving forwards, can we keep this unbeaten run going for the next 4 games too? Is 8 points an achievable return? Jeff, let's hit you with not just these next 2 games, but these next run of 4 fixtures.
Yeah, well, I already picked a Wolves win Yeah, for the next two. So I'm down for those two. Let me pop in here real quick, and then sorry, let me look at really quick. So yeah, after that we've got West Ham and then Ipswich. It's West Ham obviously is the one I'm a little more concerned about. Sorry, Ipswich. I'm not concerned with Ipswich. But then again,
Famous last words.
but sometimes those are the ones that we drop points to, or at least we had been. I don't know if it's going to be unbeaten. I think, or actually a winning all the way. I think we may be unbeaten in the next four, but I'm not confident. I have a feeling we're going to draw West Ham and then win Ipswich.
Okay. I want to hear Andrew's thoughts on this.
So I have 3 points at Bournemouth and a point against Everton. West Ham, I think we could actually pull that one off if Lopetegui's still around, of course. It might be a bit tight, but I'll go for a tight win, 2-1, maybe 1-0. So that would give us 4, 5, 6, 7. Ipswich scares me, I'll be frank. I watched Ipswich play against Manchester United, and I know it was their first game, and he hasn't had much chance. But gosh, at times Ipswich, man, they play some nice football, very creative, very fast moving forward. They open the lanes up nicely too. So Ipswich could be a game that we could potentially lose. We lost against them in the cup, didn't we, last year, if I recall? So they could be a little bit of a bogey side for us. So I will say out of the next 4 games, I'll be happy if we got 7 points. I think that would be a great number, to be frank.
I think 7's pretty good. I'm kind of with you, Andrew. Ipswich, they do give me the shivers. And, I am worried that Wolves could fall back into their bad habits. And, I may just want to keep my eyes closed.
Yes.
We'll say
attract the boys. Yeah. Give us some hassle, for sure.
Okay, next coming through is Chase Branch on X. And this is a good one, given the main topic of the pod so far. It says, let's have a discussion. Would you rather have prime Raul for Wolves or prime Cunha on your team?
This is one of the best questions we've got because it is so hard to answer. I don't know. Like, I want to say Cunha, but I'm worried that's recency bias because of how much Raul did. But Cunha's doing a lot more than just scoring goals here. I mean, the team is feeding off of all his energy. So I guess I say Cunha.
What do you think, Andrew?
I'm agreeing. I think Cunha, that second goal that he scored, the expression on his face, the way he was looking at the crowd. I mean, it was like a little kid looking at a Christmas tree. It was just so happy and thrilled that, I mean, not just to score, but just to feel it in the team. And I think Josh is right. I think the energy is just building around him, and it just feeds nicely to the team. I mean, we've had some awful losses. Our season has been really par, right, for the start. But maybe he's coming into his own. Maybe he's got this so lit up enthusiasm. It's wonderful to see. So yes, I'm going to say Cunha too.
Jeff, clean sweep.
All right, so you all know that Raul's my favorite Wolf player. He's my favorite Wolf, but I think Cunha's just getting started. I think Cunha is not prime Cunha yet. I think he's still working up towards it. So I got to go with Cunha.
That's crazy. I would have never thought.
I know. I feel dirty saying that. So
I think, like personally, right now, it's just what Raul did, and like the European highlights for me, and the really big games is just what tips him over the edge at the moment. But I will say, I'm not sure if we'll ever see it in an old gold and black jersey, but I do definitely think Cunha's ceiling is higher. And if we were ever able to kick on with him and have him in the same situation, same big games, same matches as Raul, I think you could see another level to Cunha, even beyond what Raul did. Okay, so last on the No Stupid Questions this week, it is Drew Freakin on X. And he said, will Lemina at centre-back mean that Fosun will have an excuse not to spend in that position come January? And it's worth mentioning there was a report last week from journalist John Percy, who's often close to the news in terms of exclusives and hearing behind-the-scenes stuff, who reported that a centre back was high on the priority, and there'll be money to spend on one. So I'll go for you, first, Andrew. Do you think Fosun will be opening the wallet come January?
Yeah, I think they have to. I think it's a necessity. We need that spot filled quickly, and not with a 17-year-old kid that is coming up from, maybe League One either. They have to go get some talent somewhere and dig deep into the pockets. I think if it does not happen, then Fosun has absolutely no interest in making this club anything special than where we are today. The players will make it special. The people of Wolverhampton do, and the fans do. And but if they need to step it up, they have to dig deep and go spend money. So definitely we need that spot filled for sure.
When this question, when I first saw it, I thought, this is an absolutely absurd question. But then the more I thought about it, it's actually a really good one, because what if Lemina at center back does turn out to be a thing? Now, like Andrew said, there's film now, so it might not be anywhere near as successful as it was against Fulham. But what if it does turn into a thing? I do still think they will get a center back, but they are not going to be searching for as expensive or as high quality of one if Lemina's doing what they feel like is a good enough job so that Gary O'Neill can run his system. Probably the wrong choice, but I think we all know Fosun by this point, so that's what I'm thinking.
I think if their need, like regardless of what went on in the summer about whether or not Lemina was not Lemina, whether Kilman was replaced or Mosquera was that replacement, I'm not so much worried about that. It's getting that replacement for Dawson. Yeah. That's what I want to see come in is someone more experienced, someone that can be reliable over the next 3 or 4 years. Dawson's certainly not getting any younger, but brings a certain solidity and organization to the back five or back four. Now, again, it's always, we hear the narrative that it's a hard time to buy, but if we were able to acquire someone in his mold, ideally left-footed, that could come in and free up that right hand side to play Lemina or to keep Bueno and aid his development, that gives you the flexibility then to have Totti as that left back that's been talked about, and what O'Neill's talked to of seeing there, and the flexibility that adds to Ryan Aït-Nouri going forward. So I think if the right signing is made available and it's someone that can fit, be that long-term replacement for Dawson, then they've got to go for it. So that is No Stupid Questions, everybody. Remember to stock up on your holiday wines. Head into esfuerzowines.com. Use that promo code Wolves to get 15% off as a discount on that order.
I'm disappointed there wasn't a video clip when you played that of Josh running and frolicking and skipping through a vineyard. And so when you come back to Alabama again, we'll have to find one either in North Georgia or Northern Alabama. We'll have to make that clip happen for you guys.
I'm down. We know I'll pretty much do anything. Especially if it involves getting a Wolves win, I'll do it. Guys, I'm out of whiskey. We made it through a full episode without Andrew saying Gary O'Neill needs to be fired. Holy cow, I didn't think it was possible.
Yeah.
Andrew and Jeff, how can everybody get a hold of you guys?
You want me to go ahead? So yeah, reach out to us at on Facebook at Atlanta Wolves USA, and of course on X ATL Wolves USA. And you're more than welcome to come join on a weekend if you happen to be in Atlanta. Come visit us at Fado's Bar. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, we have a great time at Fado's. I haven't had a chance to get there this year. You can catch me on X at Soccer in South. And usually I'm also, you'll see me comment on the Wolves USA Facebook page, just like the rest of us Yahoos there. So yeah, I recommend you, if you're in Atlanta, you need to go to Fado's and hang out with the Atlanta Wolves.
If nothing else, to hang out with Andrew's wife, Trish, who is super
she's awesome.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite Wolves fans.
And I'm what again? Sorry? She's super awesome, and I'm super.
You're married to
yeah, you're something. You're special.
Still married out of our league, guys.
Yeah. You outkicked your coverage, as did all of us.
I know. Darn it. Shoot.
On our team, it is thanks to Danny on the socials, Alex producing, and to you, the listener, because this show exists for you. It's great to have you involved. If you are listening and you've yet to check us out on YouTube, please head over and subscribe to our channel. We are live doing this each week if you wish to take part in person as well. And also, reviews help us massively when it comes to boosting our awareness. So give us a thumbs up or a 5-star or whatever you can do on your platform of choice. So based on those two fixtures, we're going to be back live next Wednesday night. That will be after the Everton game. So a very quick turnaround to speak about that. And we'll go ahead and preview that upcoming West Ham game, which will be the following Monday. That will be December the 9th. So this week, and as you gather around the table on Thanksgiving, you can dampen all of those possible family arguments by simply standing up, proclaiming to all, up the mighty Wolves.